Hello and welcome to the memory card. Now, one of the best things about having a Nintendo Switch this year has definitely been all the great surprises for games that have been coming to it. For instance, earlier this month we had a direct where we found out that Doom from 2016 is going to be ported to the Switch later this year, and having a portable Doom is amazing. And then we're getting Wolfenstein 2. I can't wait to play that on the Switch as well. But one of the biggest surprises of this year, actually, was Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle coming from Ubisoft. Now, Ubisoft is a bit hit or miss for me. For instance, they made one of my favorite platformer series of the past 10 years, Rayman Origins and Legends, and then Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 and Brotherhood, and then Black Flag were very interesting and innovative kind of games that were doing things differently than a lot of other games, but with the annualization of the game franchise, it became fairly stale for me. And then they keep doing so many Far Cry games. They have a tendency to annualize their games and make games that started off very fresh and interesting become kind of stale because they get franchise fatigue going. But, like I said, with the Rayman's Origins and Legends, which there needs to be a sequel to that, uh, they do show that they have the ability with certain dev teams in Ubisoft to make really interesting and compelling games. And one of the most compelling games that Ubisoft has made in years, actually, is this game right here. I first heard about Mario plus Rabbids from the leaks that Laura Kate Dale did. I saw them mostly on Twitter, and she wrote about them on Let's Play Video Games, and I have to say, I, among many others, were very skeptical and dismissive whenever we saw those leaks and then saw the leaked artwork before E3. But when E3 2017 rolled around and I saw the gameplay video and Shigeru Miyamoto go on stage with the head of Ubisoft and then see the director of the game get really emotional and cry tears of joy just seeing Shigeru Miyamoto talk about how much he loved the game, that definitely won me over, and seeing more gameplay got me more excited because it's essentially a tactical RPG in the same kind of vein as XCOM and Fire Emblem, and I really enjoy those series despite not being that great at them. So whenever I saw the gameplay and the fantastic art style and listening to Grant Kirkhope's music, and that man can do no wrong at all to me. I mean, the Banjo-Kazooie soundtrack alone is enough to put him in my good graces when it comes to video game music. So, all those combinations led to me really look forward to this game, and, well, today I figured I would talk to you about my thoughts on Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle for the Nintendo Switch. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle was released in August, and like I said, it is a tactical RPG similar to XCOM and Fire Emblem, but it does enough to differentiate itself and make it very unique within the genre. One of the main things that differentiates it is within the combat itself. It is still the movement on a grid and doing different attacks on your turn because it is turn-based, but what helps set it apart is within the sheer amount of mobility and things you can do within a single turn. For instance, with the mobility, you just for one thing can cover a lot of ground in a single turn just in your regular movement, but there's also the team jump mechanic where if you put your cursor over a teammate, you can then jump off of them and extend your movement range within the same turn, and that's awesome. Then there's also the ability to do a dash attack, which within your movement, if you put your cursor over an enemy, you can run into them, tackle them, and then continue your move. So you can essentially attack one enemy twice with the same character in the same turn, which definitely helps speed up the combat quite a bit. And also there's the different special abilities that each character has, and also two different special effects that their weapons can have. For instance, Rabbid Peach can give herself a shield to protect her from damage from attacks, and she can also heal teammates within an area around her. But then your weapons can have things like bounce or ink, with bounce where it can shoot them across the map, or ink which can cover them in ink where they can't make a weapon attack that turn. and that just adds a lot of variety to the combat. And what's cool is not only do your characters have those abilities, the enemies do as well. Something that's really cool about Mario plus Rabbids is the way that it gradually introduces these mechanics. And the first couple battles are very simple. They just teach you the basic mechanics of movement, the dash attacks, and team jumps, and all of that. But then as you go, you get more and more abilities, but also so do the enemies. They can have a lot of the same things you do, the same kind of special abilities with their weapons, and they can have more mobility, bonuses to jumping off of each other to get even farther, or some can even teleport later on. And that adds a lot of variety to the combat, which makes sense considering the combat is the thing you're doing the majority of the time. But even then, you're not just in fights all the time in Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. For instance, whenever you're not in battles, you're running around the overworld and you're finding coins and red coins and doing little puzzles here and there. And some of them are pretty easy and some of them are a bit more challenging, but then again, I suck at a lot of puzzles, so that might just be me. And one thing I need to emphasize again is how amazing the score is in this game. It's orchestrated and it sounds really rich and happy, and there's a little bit of zaniness in the music, which makes sense because the Rabbids have invaded the Mushroom Kingdom and made things really weird. And it's like a fusion of the worlds of the Rabbids and the Mushroom Kingdom. The story itself is interesting. It's not super complex and actually features pretty much Pixar level quality of animation in the beginning, in the intro, where it shows how the Rabbids fuse everything together and make everything all weird. And actually, surprisingly, this game actually is, I would definitely say, the best implementation of the Rabbids as characters, and as far as their comedy, and actually getting me to actually feel sorry for the kind of antagonist, but in a kind of tragic sense became the antagonist. It's actually pretty compelling, more so than I expected going into the game. There's 4 worlds in the game, and the first world I especially love because it's so colorful. This game is gorgeous. And it might surprise you because, again, this is running on the Nintendo Switch. It's the weakest of the 3 main consoles this generation, but man, is it beautiful. Like, the rich colors and the lighting and all the details in the animation in the backgrounds, it's just astounding. But the single player isn't all there is to the game. There's also the co-op levels, which you unlock after you beat each of one of the 4 worlds. And they're themed after one of those worlds. And like the main story, they start off easy. I was playing with a friend, and the first bunch of levels were just cakewalks, getting what would be perfects, although perfects aren't in co-op. That's only in the single player if you finish a battle under a certain term limit and you don't lose any of your guys. In co-op, you don't have that. It's just a matter of finishing the levels. But the later levels in the co-op get really difficult, honestly. We lost the first time trying to beat the mid-boss of the first co-op world. But it was a lot of fun, and it definitely showed to me that this game definitely had a lot of tricks up its sleeve, and was going to give me a good challenge. There's also a lot of variety in the combat, not just from all the different abilities and movement and all that, but there's different objectives in battle. Sometimes it's just wipe out the entire Rabbids team that you're going against. Sometimes just kill a certain amount. Sometimes you have to get to a certain point. You just need to get one of your teammates there. And other times you're escorting a Toad or something like that to the end of the level. And all these different permutations add a lot of variety to this game, and it's really cool. before E3, I figured that Mario plus Rabbids was going to be this really stupid thing that was going to make me question the decision of Ubisoft and Nintendo to make this combination, because to a lot of people, including myself, the Rabbids are essentially the minions of the video game world, and that's not a compliment. But just like the minions, the Rabbids can be good at times, and this is one of those times where they are fantastic. They're really funny throughout the entire game, and add a lot of humor to this game, and you can definitely tell that there's a bit of an influence of Rare and a bit of the Rayman 2D games, the Origins and Legends, because there's a lot of really fun dry humor and puns and things like that. It almost feels like it was co-developed by Rare and Ubisoft, well, Rare back in the N64 days. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle really surprised me. I initially wrote off the game like a lot of people did when I saw the leaks and the leaked artwork before E3 2017, but that showcase at E3 was fantastic and really won me over, and this game did not disappoint. I'm so happy about this game because it proved me wrong like it did a lot of other people. This is a fantastic game that is a must-play on the Nintendo Switch, and another reason to go pick up a Switch. I'm really happy with what the team with Grant Kirkhope and Davide Soliani were able to accomplish with this game. It's truly fantastic and should not be missed. I highly, highly recommend that you go pick up Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle on the Nintendo Switch. But regardless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on the memory card.